Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the MarsTV Dota 2 League Winter Series. This is going to be our last match of the day, but after this, we're going to be moving right on over into playoff action because it will be finally decided. Tiebreakers will be done. I'm Lyrical Dota, joined today by Blaze Casting and its Complexity facing off against Team Secret. These teams actually face each other right before the tiebreakers started, and it was this that sent us over into the mass craziness that we've been a part of ever since then. Blaze, what are you thinking so far?
This is where it all began, man. This is where Tiebreaker Apocalypse started. But no, it's actually a matchup that I was thinking about quite a bit because we knew, obviously, the matchup that was going to come into play this morning, or, well, it depends what time zone you're in. It's 3 o'clock already by me, but kind of what we're looking at here is essentially, I was thinking about this matchup thinking, could Complexity actually possibly 2-0? I think Secret were more likely to take a 2-0, but generally speaking, it seemed relatively even Steven. Secret have been in their slump, Complexity have been on the rise, finding new strats that work for them in new synergies as well. So I think overall, like, Complexity has really shown up to play for this tournament. Team Secret's still kind of in that sore spot. Team Secret can play to their full potential. I think they're going to wipe the floor with Complexity here, but that's not necessarily what we're going to see. We see a best of one between these two teams, a lot of tension, and like we've been talking about, this is going to be deciding third and fourth for the group. This is going to decide who goes to upper bracket round one, who goes to lower bracket round one. So a really consequential decision to make here in the draft and going into the game, how they want to play this. Of course, first and foremost, we're going to see the Lone Druid and Wisp taken out here. Of course, Complexity do run that Wisp very frequently with the Tiny when they get the opportunity, but no surprise at all when they get the chance. Team Secret first pick the Earth. They actually have two players that will run this, both in the support role and in the mid.
Yeah, and we saw that in the last game that these two ended up facing off against each other. We ran it, and then we also had the Eternal Envy Spectre. But to me, at least, this is really a contestation of play styles, too, where for Secret, it's very much often that they'll run about as close to a 4 Protect 1 strat as you can in this patch, because I don't think you really can do it that effectively. The first game, they lost with Eternal Envy on the Ember Spirit. The second game, they won with him on the Spectre. And honestly, throughout that game, it was looking in very close contention. Complexity were able to win the fights that they took, and then Secret were able to dodge away from those fights and find pickoffs, and it was really close, and it all came down to one big engagement, and in the middle of that, there had to be a pause, which was a little bit crazy. So there are moments like this where some people might be thinking that they have Complexity have a leg up, at least in this particular matchup, based off of their play style, which is about finding those team fights. And I will say currently I think that they're 4-0 on Faceless Void. Complexity are. Swindle has really gotten a handle on this hero. He had one game where I think he ended up with 700 GPM in the offlane position. It was absolutely ridiculous. And with the Invoker set up there also, I mean, Faceless Void, what do you think about this hero? Are people starting to figure out how to play him right?
I hope so. I mean, you and I were discussing this even before the Shanghai major qualifiers began. I thought this hero was going to be coming in big, and I think the Chinese Seas really figured this hero effectively. I think the build is a little bit too rigid. Every single game they will build the Vladimir's Black Agons. I feel like you can probably have some wiggle room there and find some new ways to optimize the hero, but in general, the people are learning how to trade really well with the walk on the offlane. Going for the Iron Talon when they need to build him up, and they are initiating really effectively with him. So overall, I think that the Void is in a much better spot than he was when people just had no idea what to do with this hero. But comparing to the Lone Druid, you said the rec is really good on the Faceless Void, but Lone Druid is still a very threatening pick that you have to go up against in the offlaner and, of course, in the carry role. So, between the two, banning out the Void or Lone Druid, I actually respect Secret's decision to ban out the Lone Druid because, like you said, they're kind of going for Protect 1. Ideally, they're trying to control the map with power, and then one is just having space rated for it, but it's not always how it plays out. But what I'm thinking is, between the two offlaners, Lone Druid puts out the most pressure directly. He's the one that comes online and gets these power spikes that start allowing Complexity to push in. You don't want to go up against that. It's a very smart ban, but it is tapping into reserve time just to think about this next phase here. They've Invoker Void. They know that Complexity are going to have a pretty strong mid to late game, and yet they have to rely on Envy in that role because that's the Team Secret strat.
Yeah, definitely. No, I completely agree with you, and particularly that point about banning out the lone druid. It's worth noting that Complexity did choose sides, so Team Secret were able to take first pick, and because of that, like in those games that they played just a couple of hours ago, every time that the team took the lone druid, whether it was Complexity or Team Secret, they won. In the second game, it was Eternal Envy there on the Spectre, and then Misery was playing the off-lane druid, and he was able to pick up a relatively decently timed Radiant. Eternal Envy went for the stats build with the Diffusal Blade. This hero, it just feels so strong to me. Lone Druid in the meta, and much like in the game that we just saw a couple of minutes ago at the EG, if you lose one team fight, all of a sudden your base is gone. The push is just so immense from him. So I really like that. The Gyrocopter ban seems perfectly fine to me. Just taking out one of those solid safe lane heroes, and Spectre also not going to be here in the pool. So neither team picking up their safe lane hero yet. Juggernaut, Sven, a couple of those other ones are still in the loop. I feel like Team Secret with Dazzle here have a nice combo for any of those physical damage dealing heroes.
Yeah, they have some good potential there, but I think that when you're coupling it with the Face of Void, although the Invoker does provide some good mid-range damage with the magical and pure damage that he can expose to the enemy, I feel like you still want to get something that could really dump into the Chronosphere a little bit. The Chinese teams run Morphling quite a bit. I don't think that's really hit the West in a big way yet, but you can still see the Ember Spirit coming into play here, even though you're up against an Earth Spirit, and just the ability to actually deal damage during Chronosphere is very important. And Visage is actually going to come through here as a choice for Complexity. This is going to help out their laning phase a lot. When the Ursa jumps in, he's looking for a quick, easy kill and a hero that can't defend himself, but Visage, as early as level 2, is far from it. This guy's going to fight you. He's going to turn all that damage right back against you. It's actually going to be a very strong opportunity for Complexity to start building their own momentum, and could it even be a Drow Ranger
That's
strat?
what I was about to say. I was about to say that, like, you were talking about the needing more heroes to be able to deal out that damage from a range. To me, this seems like a perfect opportunity for Drow to be run with Chronosphere. You catch people in there and have any number of heroes being thrown in. That's going to be able to work. And even if they wanted to, honestly, like Vengeful Spirit, I was going to say, is another option that they could run. So this is gonna, give them the opportunity to swap in and possibly keep her out of the way of fire, but this looks like a perfect opportunity for Drow.
Yeah, they have great saving tools now with the Dazzle Brave, with the Avenge defensive swap. Later on, you get the eggs on that Earth Spirit, and of course, he can create a lot of survivability and pull allied heroes out of a bad spot. So this is all designed around protecting Eternal Envy, whatever carry he may end up going with. But it's going to be a tough one here. Visage is going to deal a lot of damage. I guess the Ember Spirit is probably the go-to you consider, because he's able to make that jump out of the Chrono so easily. But yeah, I'm not 100% convinced one way or another. No, at least now that Weehaw is going to be taking the Earth Spirit to the mid lane. This is going to Dazzle and Avenge as the supports. Right? It's not going to be an Eternal Envy Avenge, I can assure you of this. So we are going to be seeing mid Earth Spirit. That means we're looking for Misery's pick, and we're looking for that MV. Gotta say, hero.
Ember, you mean?
Sorry. Yeah.
No, definitely. We're going to get all the spirits up in here. Dazzle is going to be the lone person, not Ethereal, and I like that pick a lot. Tusk is the next one. I feel like this is just very well set up to be a Drow game if Complexity wanted to take it, but if they do end up going over for the Ember, do you think that that's enough of an ability? Like, do you think that Complexity are going to be able to keep him off of the Drow if they do opt to go for that strategy? Whoa, okay.
Well, here it is. Terrorblade with negative armor ×2, the Wave of Terror, along with that Terrorblade. I feel like there's some really good potential here. He has to tank up, though, really early on. He's either going to be depending heavily on the Dazzle and the Venge, or Eternal Envy is going to have to build some good, just raw HP items. Because even like a Sunstrike coming up from the Invoker is something that really threatens Terrorblade. He has massive base armor, but a terrible base HP pool. So we're going to see Envy kind of build all around defensive, maybe get a drum or something, just pads his stat pool so that he can survive while still farming.
Well, and this is something that I'm curious about. At this point, where do you go for Invoker? Do you want to go Quas Wex or do you want to go Quas Exort? Either one looks great. I mean,
10
you've either got
seconds
the ability to drain the mana out of all of these heroes that are incredibly spell reliant, or you've got the
5 seconds
capabilities to,
remaining.
with one simple Tusk rotation of a Snowball into Ice Shards, Walrus Punch, Sunstrike, kill somebody.
Reserve
Like,
time.
there's just, it's so easy to find a kill on these squishy heroes. Is there a particular build that you like more here out of this Invoker pick?
10
Definitely
seconds
Exhort. I
remaining.
think there's a lot of to be said about the fact that the Invoker damage output
5
will
seconds
fuel the Vista's soul assumptions. When you're putting out meteor damage really quickly, the team fight gets in your favor rapidly with that damage output, and the Vista can follow through nicely with that. The Sunstrike is a clear thing with the Faceless Void,
Team
and
Secrets,
just
turn to
honestly,
pick.
the time dilation is going to do enough to control the spellcasting the Secret, I would say, if Void is playing it correctly. So, all in all, I think Invoker definitely should be looking for the Exhort. Maybe you could look at Forage Spirits, so they could maybe look towards Roshan a little bit early. Between the Familiars and the Forage Spirits, they can do some good work there. Even the Sigil can help out. But
So,
last
how do you think Complexity are going to lane this with this last pick, Lena?
10 seconds remaining.
right, so it is going to be kind of shifting up the roles a little bit
5
here.
seconds remaining.
Carry Void is actually a possibility, and I'm curious to see if that's actually something that Complexity have been practicing.
Huh, very, very interesting. Yeah, Olymp is going to be picking up the Lena, and we're still waiting on everybody else to send out. But honestly, I mean, this is a team that feels very comfortable switching around the roles. Oftentimes, Limp and Chessie will switch it up depending upon who wants to play what. Swindles does have a history of playing in the roles. He's certainly not going to be taking that Faceless Void there, but has had some experience playing carry as well. I don't know. This is a very odd collection of a draft, and we'll just have to wait till we get into it. But Misery
I'm pretty
Darkseer-
sure right now we're going to say Flame Invoker and mid Lena, and then we're going to be looking at the offlane Void. It clicks a lot better. I'm a little less sold on the Vistage supporting the Invoker because like Cold Snap, Grave Chill, it's like it's okay, but it's not going to do that much to the Darkseer. Misery's still going to get a lot of that lane, but in the top lane will be a bit of a wash, but if Z-Freak roams well, they might be able to kill the Earth Spirit a couple times. So, all in all, I think this is probably one of the better ways to form things up.
We're on over into the game now. Final one here. Nobody is going to be eliminated today, but if they do end up winning this game, whoever does is going to be in the upper bracket, and the other one is going to be designated to the lower bracket. Early smoke coming out here. Swindles is going to be playing your Faceless Void. We do have Chessie on the Invoker. Z-Freak is going to be playing the Tusk. Limp is the Lena, and last but not least, Handskin on the Visage. And they're all going to be going down towards this bottom lane here.
So, looking over the side of Secret, of course, you got the Captain Puppy. He's running on the Dazzle. Weeha is going to be taking the Earth Spirit. That's going to leave Misery on the Darkseer. Envy is on this Terrorblade, and Balodai leading the charge here. He's the boots for a Spential Spirit.
You know, I was wondering for a second there if they were going to, Complexity were going to do something with their last pick to potentially go for a level 1 Roche. They're kind of becoming a bit notorious for it. They were able to pull it off earlier on in the tournament, but not going to be happening this time around, and it looks like we're probably just going to be seeing the rune swap. Haven't seen any wards placed down on the side of Secret as of yet. They're holding on to those, instead opting to try and just make sure they have control over this entire area, and probably going to be seeing Swindles head off on his lonesome over towards that bottom lane.
Alrighty, so here, Chessie going to be making his move with Exhort. Probably going to just try to clear our Iron Shells, but actually take a note of where Secret are moving Misery right now. He is going to safe flame position. Damage over time, something that's really good against Faceless Void and the new Time Walk. So if you could just double Iron Shell, frustrate this Void quite considerably. Swindles, he'll still get some out of the lane thanks to Z-Freak pulling things back, but it's definitely not the matchup that he's looking for. And we'll see much more aggression come out, and they're on the high ground. This could really be for Chessie.
Heal Bomb as well. A couple more right clicks might be enough to get Grave Chill. They are going to be able to kill him off. First Blood going to the Dazzle and Handskin. Also going to get chased down now. We have the Clarity up. Going to have to break it, but then that's going to leave him a little bit more vulnerable to these right clicks. Once uphill was very important, but we do have another Magic Missile, and it doesn't even matter. They're going to get one last shot and 2 kills off the back. Secret doing what they need to do. Really good recognition there by Palai and Puppy that they were going to be moving up that mountain.
Yeah, and just of course heading them off, but also just this entire laning configuration where, generally speaking, oh, they're gonna go in again. This time with the Metamorphosis. Chesney doesn't really have much to keep himself alive other than some tree jukes, and he'll have to just stay very, very reserved at this point in time. Z-Freak's gonna rotate in, but he already skilled Ice Shards, so he's gonna really have to wait till level 2 before he gets to contribute. And I feel like the fact that Secret are shaking this up, that they're putting Envy in an aggro tri-lane, which is something that's relatively uncharacteristic for them. They've done it before, of course, but generally speaking, they're happier to throw Misery to the Wolves and give Envy the secured farm. In this case, they're shaking it up, and Complexity don't seem to have a great lineup to answer it.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe playing a little bit into the expectations of, they just played several games together, and they were able to watch those replays probably to some extent, or at least somebody was. Oh, but meanwhile, Envy is going to end up being caught here in the shards, blocked off as well by Z-Freak. Is just going to get harassed out of there, but he's got a decent amount of sustainability in lane with Puppey on that dazzle. But what I was saying is that, when we were coming into this cast, we were talking about what we were expecting out of Secret, and they have a very distinctive style. The fact that they've switched it up, you got to admire that a little bit.
Yeah, they know this best of 1 has to count. I mean, this is the same value of a best of 3 against one of the group A teams, so they definitely want to make sure that it counts and that they're able to take Complexity here where they failed earlier today. We're actually going to see a combo here onto mid. Weehaw using those spells, smoked up for the 2v1 play. Limp does get the Fairy Fire, needs the healing salve as well, and that's going to be enough to keep him alive.
Really well played there. Just Limp pushing that to the absolute limit. He did get ganked and was almost able to get killed, but not quite there in time. The courier also bringing him out. I think that was the salve that the courier brought him up. Oh, goodness gracious, a little bit of coL going on, and the side pull is going to be somewhat effective, although not getting everybody. It's going to be able to possibly deny out a couple of these creeps. But so far with this aggressive tri-lane, what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is working out for them, despite the early kills that were somewhat flukish? Oh god, Puppey's going to get jumped on again. Snowball is going to go out. Still staying alive with that boot advantage, but it's going to get grave chilled. Another creep is also following him. Still Assumption. Is he actually going to be able to walk out of this one? No, shards are going to come in. Meanwhile, Wee trying to run over to the other side. He is going to end up falling, and it looks like Pylai died. It end up dying as well. Invoker's rotating. 4 heroes over here, but the stun is going to keep him alive. He says, not my support. Continue on.
So for now, at least, Complexity have only been able to acquire the 1 kill here on the Visage. Still Assumption, level 1. It's definitely something to be worried about to an extent, but it still costs a lot of mana for Huntskin. So in general, as which flies out, it's going to be still hard on Puppey, I think. That's the big thing, is if he's really good with the heal, with the grave, he can keep Envy up through all this damage, and they can actually turn the engagements pretty heavily. But as the levels continue to grow for the Tusk Fist, they're going to be able to really put out a threatening presence.
I'm not sure what exactly happened in that last little engagement there, but I believe that Tusk got sniped by the Earth Spirit as he was going to either jungle or try to deny himself to neutrals or something. He was able to kill him off with just 1 boulder smash. Really, really well played there, but it did end up revealing that there's a ward that hasn't as of yet been dewarded. Really good play. Light Strike Ray not going to connect. They do have a Soul and Sunstroke coming through. It's not going to be there. Meanwhile, the Magic Missile onto Z-Freak. Double stun yet again.
Wow.
In a little bit of trouble. What a player. Rolling Boulder away, too. So Z-Freak is not going to be able to kill him off. I don't know if Pylai Dai is going to be able to find this kill. She does have another Magic Missile in a little bit. They still need about 15 more mana, and they're going to continue the chase on forward. Already a 600 gold swing does salve. He's going to have to run through the tower, though. Is going to get stunned up in the end. The heal bomb does come through. Snowball to keep himself alive. Wee is going to turn back around because the rolling boulder is not going to be able to be enough, and there's the wave of terror. Should be able to finish him off with one last boulder smash.
Very well done here. Weehaw showing why this is a first pick material hero for him, and showing once again why I was surprised they even let it through. And especially the ban order from Complexity. What they ended up doing was banning the Batrider and then the Chen. If they ban the Chen and then the Batrider, it's a little different because you don't have to worry about that lone druid being left in the pool. But essentially, it's just like even the lone druid was left in the pool, I still think Secret would have probably first picked the Earth Spirit, just because of how Weehaw is able to execute on the hero, especially as we see him now.
is under attack.
So this is a hero that I feel like sometimes does end up running into trouble in the mid game, sort of run out of firepower. Do you think that that's true with me as a player, or is it more that you're able to get caught up with Spectre, or not Spectre, Eternal Envy? Oh, meanwhile, Handskin is actually going to get jumped on here again. He does get the extra moves to be the body blocks as well. There's going to be the Magnetize thrown out one time, a two-person yet again, and then silence him for good measure.
Yeah, just perfect execution for Weehaw. It does obviously use all the stone remnants, so we'll have to tone it down for about a minute here. He's
bottom with the Chronos. That's going to be a kill into misery. Swindle gets it.
Yeah. That'll pretty much break up the equal lane there. Essentially, it's been kind of back and forth here. Duster getting a little bit better in terms of the last hits, of course, with the Ion Shell. He's up 37-3 compared to the Void's 25-9, but Swindle has maintained his position here, and it's not been too bad for him. So, yeah, overall, I think that this is definitely Weehaw's time to strike, where once he gets the Stone Remnants back up, then he's able to start being more active, being mobile, being involved, and finding kills. It looks like he actually wants to kill the Invoker pretty soon, because he's got Dust, which, of course, you always want to have that as a gank-oriented hero, but to pick it up at this particular moment means, hey, we're going to be starting to disrupt the laning up top. So, the normal build for Weehaw, he's usually able to rush out a Veil of Discord. While it's really good on the Earth Spirit, it's not particularly stunning this game. I mean, you've got the Darkseer spells that do a little bit of magic damage, the Magic Missile, and that's about it.
Yeah, the rest of it's very physically oriented. Reflection also doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot beyond the right clicks that come in from those illusions. Do you think then he tries to switch up his play to do something else, or oh god, Sunstrike Puppy not gonna get hit by it, but Seize Freak is gonna end up forcing him away, or rather, he's gonna force himself away, walks away from that one. I thought that they were gonna try and go for that, but I guess Weehaw is gonna initiate from a long range away.
Yeah, I suppose that'll work out for him, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel like you still need a mana item on the Earth Spirit, so whether it's an Ether Lens, or no, he's got the Null Talisman, he's still going for the Veil, so he just feels confident that he's going to be able to do enough magical damage himself to make sure that that's relevant, which means he needs to at least refresh his Magnetize twice, in my mind.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a tall order. It's not the worst if you're able to have a lot of those remnants up and available, and make sure that you make land where you need them to. I think the big thing for me that I'm looking out for is how are they going to try and control him? They don't really feel like they have a whole heck of a lot outside. Like the majority of it is slows. Cold Snap is pretty great for being able to make that happen, but Rolling Boulder is always going to be something that's really difficult to deal with as far as an anti-ganking tool that he has.
And even scarier is the fact that every spell you put into the Earth Spirit trying to pin him down is a spell you don't get to use against Eternity. And the Terrorblade, if he's involved in the fight in Metamorphosis, if you can't stun lock him, he's going to be able to get a Sunder off, and he's going to just be able to tear your entire team apart. So, as scary as Weehaw's Earth Spirit is, it's the fact that he's not the only threat on the battlefield that makes it that much more difficult to deal with.
Absolutely. Well, they're wrapping around, seeing if can maybe make something happen up here with Swindles, but they're not really. They're kind of just walking around. I think their smoke ended up making it so because of that, they're going to have to back on out. As for now, Limp going to try and catch back up a little bit in net worth. Terrorblade, he's been pretty much free to get whatever he wants so far up in the top lane, and you know, when we've seen what can happen if you let a Terrorblade free farm. He's one of those heroes that just snowballs completely and totally out of control. I feel like this hero hasn't changed a lot outside of that reflection. The big change that ended up coming. What do you think it is that's brought him back into sort of prevalence?
Well, of course, it's one big aspect is just the ability to farm up items without being crushed. The tempo of the metagame in general is favoring these cores that come online a little bit later. As much as people like to talk about the current meta being like death ball push, I really don't think that that's accurate in any way. I think that the push is a means to an end, and that end is map control. You dominate the map, you control the resources on the map, and then you get the better carry, more farm. And so Eternal Envy just wants to fill the role of that better carry. Players like Sylar on LGD, of course, are able to do just the same, and it just comes down to the player. It's less about the hero in the patch, and it's much more about the player in the hero, and I feel like Envy definitely fits the role that is necessary to really maximize the potential of Terrorblade. And like you're saying, like Reflection was his buff, but not even skilling the Reflection. It's not coming into play whatsoever.
That's the big thing is I feel like I guess then it really does have to be one of those meta changes opposed to the hero changes. The snowball forward is going to be able to catch here onto Earth Spirit, but immediately he rolls away at a little bit more an effective pace. He's going to be able to avoid that gank, and suddenly all that time that you saw Limp as well as Z-Freak sitting in the jungle doesn't really end up coming out to much, while Secret is going to be pushing up this top tier 1 tower. It looks like it's soon to fall. They did cancel a TP there and bring in another one, so this is going to be Void. He needs to be careful here. Jump word Chronosphere ends up getting canceled. He got stunned actually, but he's not going to be able to do enough damage. They throw on out the meatball. It's going to be able to be there, but the swap out is going to keep him alive. Time dilation is still in full effect, but they're not really able to take him down right now. He's looking for the Sunder, ends up getting the shallow grave, but he needs to be careful lest he get killed off. We had dropping pretty low after the Laguna Blade, ends up using the one charge to try and stay alive. Sunstrike is going to come in, able to take on out the Dazzle on the other side of the fight. We still sitting there with a very low HP pool. Would have died to that Dragon Slave, but is going to be able to TP out. Final tally is a tower for a Dazzle. Take it every day.
Absolutely, and that was a very conscious decision from Puppy there. Not the Sunstrike, obviously, but essentially they go for the Grave Blade, they try to commit with the Terror Blade and get a big Sunder off. Obviously, the Grave Sunder is what we've seen a lot in pubs, but in this case, because he couldn't close distance, Envy turns around and Sunders the Dazzle down to minimum HP, and then he has to, unfortunately, eat the Sunstrike, which was well placed by Chessie there. So, all in all, just a tough exchange, but again, they get tower, they get what they need, and they're going to continue to build momentum if they can just take the mid-tier 1 as well.
Right. Well, and Envy continuing to level on up and get the net worth higher and higher. You take a look, the 3 cores for Secret are in a fairly commanding position, and still the difference in terms of team net worth is only about 2,500 gold. It definitely feels like they're in a position to continue this pressure, as you were saying. Key items that have been able to be completed. We do have the Invoker who's gone for that 1 point in Wex after taking 3 in Quas and 3 in Exort, and he is going to be able to hick up that Hand of Midas, so the levels should be coming a little bit quicker very soon, and he's going to have that double Forge Spirits in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So at this point, Envy is farming a lot of camps at once, is able to kind of like keep the jungle on lockdown, continue to rotate through every time it's spawning, skilling, and he's getting some good value out of it. But we will see Swindles try to get involved in that process as well. I feel like they need a ward out this direction. You look at the current wards for Complexity, one that expire in mid on the river, and then one was just placed on the top rune. They really need coverage in the Secret jungle if they're going to be able to start testing the vulnerable positions for Secret.
Yeah, definitely, and like it sort of harkens back to what you're talking about there. Map control has been able to be sort of taken over, and realizing that that might be something that's important, they're going to move on into Roshan with those double Forge Spirits and Invoker Alacrity up. It's going to be time to strike. They're going to be taking this out, and this one is a pretty sneaky Rosh. I would not be expecting this if I was Secret at this point. Do you think that there's any chance that they come over and realize this is going on?
I mean, they don't have really great scouting tools, that the Wave of Air is not going to be coming into play, so no, I don't really think so. They'll ping in that direction, they'll think it's possible, but if they actually go in, man, they would have amazing game sense if that was the case. For now, covering the bottom rune, they see Alina. I don't think they're suspicious at all.
Well, and also Complexity is sitting around this, farming and making things happen, but in the earshot, sort of, if you will. They're capable of being able to top on in and lay down that Chronosphere if at all possible. Chessie actually has to wait for his second Forge Spirit. This is taking a while. They might realize something is up as this tier 2 tower, or tier 1 tower is going to end up falling. Nobody is showing up for it at this point. A couple smashes. This is scary for Complexity at this point.
Yeah, but they've committed so hard for this, so they have to finish it, and I do believe that Secret might be getting too suspicious at this point and might be making their way there. They've only got about 10 seconds left on the clock for Roche, and it looks like they're going to be able to get away with it here. Jumping in, the Familiar's going to help out that last little bit of damage, and she will claim that Aegis in the end.
Very nicely done, and it pays off. You know, you get yourself a really big objective, you build back up a little bit more of that worth, and now Void is starting to become a little bit something scary again. He's already picked up his Vlads, so giving his team that extra bit of armor and the lifesteal, very, very important, and maybe now they're going to be able to claim a tier 1 tower of their own.
Yeah, so definitely need that kind of momentum if they're going to be able to really dig their way into this game. Right now, if you look at the top 4 net worth, that's 3 heroes for Secret side, and one of them is Dem terribly. So
he's going to go down up top. Yeah, they just spotted him walking through the through the river with the 1 ward, and instantly he's dead with that Veil finished off.
Yeah, not really much hope. But the Gravekeeper's Cloak going away so quickly to heroes like that, suddenly you're sitting at the lowest base magic resistance of any hero, and there's just really no way to survive against any of the significant spells coming in from Weehaw.
So we mentioned at the very start of the draft, well, not the very start of it, but we mentioned in the draft that we thought the Visage pick might have been because of the potential for a Drow pick.
Sure.
What do you think about this hero now? Is this paying off for them? Obviously, he just died, so it's a little bit of not a fair thing to talk about there because, you know, that could happen to almost any hero if they got caught out by Earth Spirit and Terrorblade. But it does kind of feel like maybe it's something a little bit clunky in their draft. Do you agree?
I feel like it's something that gets more strength and more value when you actually get the Visage near a Chronosphere. When you hit the Chronosphere, you get drop a Luger Blade and a Soul Assumption, you just have a dead hero. But we're going to see double Yules come out here on the Earth Spirit. It is going to follow up Weehaw, full combo, Dazzle with the very preemptive raid. But can they get one more Soul Assumption? No! It's going to follow and it's going to kill. Invoker gets it with the Forge Spirit hit.
Looks like Puppy is going to fall in as well as Visage takes another one. Handskin immediately proving that this was the correct pick, and Pele die. He might get caught out here. We do have the Chronosphere still up for Swindles, and he might just think about it. They have the vision right now, looking for the possibility. He jumps forward. Oh, he wants to Chrono, but is going to hold back at least for the moment, and instead content himself to take a little bit of farm and keep the pressure up on this tier 1 tower, which, by the way, is still standing.
Not for long. We'll see the Visage take care of it pretty quickly here. Has 3 birds to lend to the next fight, and they have that Chronosphere. The Laguna Blade cooling down, the mana regen on Limp. I feel like they're going to keep on, while they're here, they might as well get free hits in.
Yeah. Well, thinking about it, they do still have the blink coming out on Swindles, so they could be waiting for a reinitiation with that.
Yeah, they're going to fake back, I think. They don't actually have to retreat from this position, so they'll kind of control this part of the map. They'll find a safe place maybe to smoke up, and they are not really actually going to leave the Radiant side because there's actually no incentive to whatsoever. Secret are getting a lot of farm right now. Complexity are in fighting form, especially with that Blink Dagger coming out for the Void. And he's even look at the courier movement. They're trying to keep it sub. They don't know exactly where the wards are, and they have not revealed the Blink Dagger until just then. And even then, he was only there for a second. So it's very unlikely they know about the Blink Dagger, and they are trying to get back into this game.
They're going to swap back out Chessie. He's silenced up. They get the Magic Missile as well. So Aegis, first time going down, but the Blink is going to be up as well as Chrono. Envy up on the high ground and Puppy. They thrown out the Deafening Blast, looking for the big Chrono. It hits onto 2, but that wasn't able to be enough. It's going to be doing so much damage. Envy ran into it too in the end. They get the Laguna Blade out, and all of a sudden, everybody's going to go down. Only person left alive is going to be the Rolling Boulder coming on in. Isn't enough damage. They get a nice Thunder. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Stuns continue to fly. He is end up going down, and the Magnetize is doing a decent chunk, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Earth Spirit was able to kill off the Lina. He's getting the time dilation out, a couple of right clicks, and the stuns, possibly a Sunstrike. It is not going to hit, but a ton of damage. This guy is so tanky, is still going to fall. Full man team wipe. 8-10 is the current score. The Complexity took a big one.
That's the fight they're looking for. The Blink Dagger didn't actually give him the direct initiation, but it got him to the fight, even though he was going to be pretty sneaky about it. So they got an amazing Chronosphere on the flank, and it hit on all 3 heroes wanted to hit on. Hit on the Venge and the Dazzle, which are 2 heroes that save those that are in Chronospheres, and then it also hit on the Terrorblade, keep him out of the fight for an extended period of time. Now, there was a really cool Sunder Magnetized combo that actually killed off the Lina, but using the 2 heroes for that purpose, it's not anything to be happy about. Right now, Complexity are starting to take control of the map off of just 1 single engagement.
Ooh, highlight that saving Puppy, at least for the moment, and a couple of weird particle effects are going on right now with the Urn. It does look like the Sunstrike isn't quite going to hit, but they actually catch Puppy in this. He might end up going down potentially. We do have the stun coming in. Handskin in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get jumped on by Weehaw. The Blade Fury has already been popped in. It looks like they're going to opt to try and kill off these birds. Almost going to be able to get them. They got 1. But Earth Spirit getting a pretty nice pick there.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about what Complexity were just able to pull off, though, is the fact they didn't even smoke for it. They had an idea of where the enemy wards were, and they were able to just stay in the fog with the critical heroes that were getting caught out. Swindles actually silenced and stunned, eating the Magnetized, but it doesn't seem like anything that Swindles has to be worried about here.
Yeah, they just don't have the ability to, like, burst down super quickly and keep the silence going, I think. It's so hard to make that happen. All right, Chessie, they jump forward, Sunstrike.
Oh, that silence from Weehaw!
Oh
Incredible! Swiddle's now dropping down. They get the kill on the Void. That is all Weehaw all day. What a gorgeous response.
That was really well played. And you saw there, Complexity had really great intentions for what they were going to be going for. It would have been an immediate chrono onto 2 with, you know, the Invoker coming up right behind them. They definitely could have been able to kill off both of those heroes, and just great responses, as you said. My goodness, his Earth Spirit play is off the chain. So good.
It really is just, it's keeping them in the game for sure. I mean, we haven't really seen the Eternal Envy Terrorblade come into play just yet. He's getting there, but it's still going to take some time. So as a result, I am definitely keeping this all eyes on Weehaw to continue to create the space and build that opportunity. This is what LGD does. They find ways to make the fights happen in these smaller skirmishes favoring their side. They go in at 3, they go in as 4, and they still win fight after fight. Well, Secret aren't dominating by any stretch. It's an even kill score of 10-10. But if you look at net worth, we're seeing that on the Dire side, it's an Invoker at the 10k net worth benchmark, and on this side, it's a Terrorblade. And obviously, one scales a lot harder than the other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And eventually, you're going to be able to pick up something like a BKB, possibly, to be able to nullify a lot of the damage they ends up doing. Terrorblade does already have a Sanjin Yasha and an Ogre Club. What are you thinking this is going to build into? Do you think that there's a chance that he ends up going for this early of a BKB, or is this going to be something else here?
It's definitely an Aghanim Scepter. There has to be a BKB. There's absolutely no other alternative.
Yeah, it seems like that's definitely going to be the case, as the armor is going to get thrown out there. I do like the idea of the Axe, though. It seems like it would definitely be unexpected.
Surprise factor.
Exactly.
Above all else.
It's mind games. As we see the Visage as well as the Tusk and the Invoker moving on up towards the top lane, all eyes are converging on this tier 1 tower for the Radiant, and the BKB picked up. Maybe Secret are thinking about trying to go for a fight here.
Could be difficult though. One blink dodge and everything just is torn apart. Like, there's gonna be the Yules to set it up.
Ooh. Goodness gracious, the Grave though, keeping him alive. I don't know how long it's gonna go. The vacuum wall manages to get off both of its spells. Meanwhile, to turn back around, they're able to drop the meatball. Chronosphere on the backlines. Puppy's in a lot of trouble. They are still able to kill off Wee at the end, and they're gonna be able to take a little bit more as the Dazzle falls in return. Do they get the Walrus Punch kill on a Pile Die? He is gonna end up going down. And my goodness gracious, Complexity, their 5-man is pretty strong.
Absolutely, they're just engaging these fights really well. The Yules to keep the Darkseer in lockdown, forcing all the defensive response from Secret. And yeah, they don't kill the Darkseer. They take everybody that's behind him though, and I feel like Weehaw misread that situation entirely. Like, when they're jumping a Darkseer on the tower, it is not just 2 heroes going for a quick pick, a simple Lina combo. That is the entire Complexity lineup ready to rock and roll, and it just did not see that Chronosphere coming.
Yeah, well, it does look like it's going to be a little bit scary at this point in time, and I mean, how at this stage do you try and fight against this? It feels like Complexity are content to just try and 5-man and continue to take these towers. Do you think that there's going to be a whole lot that they stop for? Do they maybe wait for the next Roshan to really make their next move, or can they keep their foot on the pedal?
Well, right now there is no Ags on the Lina, so I still feel like the Eternal MV means a lot. If he does end up coming to the fight, if they do get a full 5-5 and MV gets to pop his BKB, gets to get some good value out of his Sunder, I still think Secret have some good fight potential, because we've already seen the strength of that Dazzle plus Terrorblade, but we're going to maybe have to test that theory. Nope, Void in the quick jump out. So yeah, I just feel like right now, to this point, Secret has been playing 4v5. Now they have a 5th hero that can opt to engage.
Well, time will tell if they're going to be able to make enough of that, as it looks like, at least for now, Complexity is going to back on out. Not everybody is with them, and this is something that I kind of like. Oftentimes when you end up getting into these situations where you go around the map as 5, it's still difficult to find your farm, but they're actually going to smoke on up again and see if they can catch somebody off in the jungle. I don't expect them to see anybody, or looking for Roshan, who is not quite up, but will be very shortly. Every moment that goes by, though, I have a feeling that Secret knows something might be afoot. Oh god, we walking up onto high ground?
Oh, but Hanskin's the vulnerable hero. He's not going to have any response from him, but can they bait a big enough chrono? I don't think so.
No. Just really good positioning there by Secret to avoid that potentially disastrous team fight. And they're going to walk right on in as Roche is there, soaking up some damage with the Terrorblade illusions. Or they're not going to go for it, actually. Do you think that they have the capabilities of taking it themselves, or is it too dangerous with the Chronosphere?
Dire's bottom tower is under
I mean,
attack.
capability, yes, but it's not something they're going to look to do anytime soon. They just want the towers. Like, they have this entire bottom lane to push through. If they have the advantage, they're going to take that
Dire's
there.
bottom tower has fallen.
Illusions continuing to take them on down. Blink daggers all around. I think almost they're getting a lot of blink daggers in this game, and it feels like the follow-up of any fight is going to be very, very intense. And I always feel like whenever there's sort of those opportunities to get in the midst of a fight and try and chase somebody down. Do you think that 4 staffs might be a better option, or who do you think is going to be the aggressor? Is it really just going to come down positioning?
I mean, it's always come down to positioning. The jumping, the Chronosphere, the Yule Scepter, just locking somebody in place so they know what to do. We're relying heavily on the Venge swap, which Venge just hit level 11, so Pilot Eye should be able to create some value there. It's always been the positioning for Secret, whether or not they can mitigate the effects of the Chronosphere so that they can actually take a full engagement.
Yeah. Fortunately, so was not quite able to catch out Weeha there as he went the other direction, and now pressure down on this bottom tier 2 tower. It looks like for the moment at least Secret is going to be trying to push out this top lane and see if they can make a tower trade. But Swindle is sitting there guarding the way forward, making sure that if anybody walks up, they have the danger of getting Chronosphered.
Certainly, so tier 2. But the big thing you have to note is that Eternal Envy is not actually getting counter push in right now. No structural damage received during the entire time Complexity were forcing bottom lane, and that shows a little bit of hesitance here from Secret. Obviously they want to use this 10-second BKB offensively, not defensively, but in general, Envy, it doesn't seem like he's getting the counter push that he needs right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty scary to be able to go against, like we were talking about, you know, the Blink Eul's combo coming out from the Invoker. If he does get caught out, like, he has to stay alive. There's no way for them to really win if he starts getting picked off. So I can kind of understand a little bit. And obviously, if you hit that combo absolutely perfectly, there isn't an opportunity for you to get your BKB off.
Alright, so Eternal Envy is going to go for a Blink Dagger here on Terrorblade. We've seen it on a lot of different heroes, but Terrorblade is definitely a unique choice. In this case, it is going to be attempting to Blink Dodge Chronospheres. If he does get caught, for example, by the Yule's combo you're talking about, then the Venge should be sitting behind him to swap him out. He has to wait 3 seconds, and then Blink gets EPM to safety and make it so that her sacrifice was not in vain. So all in all, I actually think this pickup can be very powerful, but next item has to be big. Next item is definitely 4K plus in cost.
Let's see if he's going to be able to get that up in time. Is there anything in particular that you really favor here? Butterfly potentially, or does he...
I think Scotty. It has to be. Like, the HP value is still way too important. I mean, Butterfly is definitely an option, but we're going to see Swindle's jumped pretty hard here. Time Walk is available, and he will get it off.
Still taking a lot of tips. There are reflections. He's still able to get the kill. Ridiculous amount of damage coming out, and they're going to be able to kill off a couple of these birds also. And Eternal Envy is just up front and center, going to start tearing down this tier 2 tower. Not really anything that they can do to stop this at this point. He just deals so much damage in that Metamorphosis form, and
I don't even know why you glyph, to be honest. Like, at this point, you have a Faceless Void down for 40 seconds. There is no team fight. There is nothing for Complexity right now, and Secret know it. So just getting that jump in, and the fact that there is no saving potential right now for the side of Complexity. They have the Blink Snowball for Z-Freak, but no, they had no good targets for it. The Void would die out of the case. So it's an awkward position because of course the lack of mechanism on their team as a whole.
So what do you think Complexity need to do? I feel like even though they're in the lead in terms of net worth, Secret are kind of exerting their will against them. Do you think that they need to do something to try and keep the pressure up, or is there any point where we sort of get into like a point of no return?
I mean, yes, there is a critical mass on the Terrorblade. The Darkseer can get another 2 big items, and he can be extremely scary too. But all in all, still got the faithful. He just picked up his axe. This is a 60-second scepter cooldown, a 5-second duration. I still feel like Complexity just keep doing what they've been doing, which is to use the Chronosphere whenever it's opportune, and then take objectives around that.
Radiant's middle tower.
Diffusal Blade has been picked up at this point by Terror Blade, so we'll be slowing those people down, taking care of all those buffs that they receive, and unfortunately it doesn't take off Cold Snap, which would be pretty cool.
I think the big thing is dispelling time dilation off of allies. If he can get it, like, for example, off a Puppy, and he can get another Grave off in a fight, that's huge.
How important is the mana burn damage?
Dire's
It's
bottom
relevant,
tower is
but
under attack.
I mean, it's definitely not like the reason to pick it up.
Okay. Well, 1,600 net worth on him, Invoker ever slightly behind, and looks like Complexity is going to be content to start pushing this out. They ping out that Swindles is over in the trees. That was not quite sneaky enough, and now they're going to jump forward, rolling boulder. They catch on him immediately. That's going to be a pretty big decision. They are going to be able to kill off in the meantime the Dazzle, but meanwhile the Faceless Void goes down, and all of a sudden they're not in trouble. Ice Cold does get thrown out. Handskin is going to end up dying. They jump again onto Wee, and Chessie is going to end up going down here. Terror Blade right-clicking away. My goodness gracious, is he still alive there? Swap back the other direction. Z-Freak's going to be okay. Limp is going to be able to take out the Avenging Spirit at the end, but Chessie looks to just be walking. A 2-for-2 trade in a messy team fight.
Lucky timing for Chessie, honestly. If you look at the Roche timer, it is about 8-10 seconds past the Aegis expiration. Chessie gets to get the value of the Aegis within like the last 4 or 5 seconds it was going to exist in this world. So very fortunate Chessie just doesn't straight up die there. But even still, great for Secret to find that pickup. Again, the Void is the target you have to find if these fights are gonna play out the way you want them to, and they do it once again. I figured once is probably the only time Swindle's gonna allow it, but yet again, Swindle gets caught out, and that is going to be Secret taking a big swing forward. Yeah, they had his second BAB, and it was only an even trade to North of the Aegis, but it's still Secret that are getting control of their map back.
Yeah. Well, and you know, given all this extra farming time, we were taking a look at the score in terms of the difference in net worth, and at 7,500, it's starting to feel like those numbers matter less and less with every team fight. And really, what it's coming down to is structural damage, the ability to take objectives after the fact, or at least just take map control back, and that's what's happening right now. In terms of the vision that we're seeing across the board, Secret have a pretty good hold on everything, and meanwhile, Complexity have no wards on the map right now. It has been a little bit of a struggle for them. So
at this stage now, they've got to kind of get things under wraps here. As far as Smoke Deceit, they're waiting for it to cool down. They've got 1.5 minutes on that. And you mentioned the Observer wards. They've got only 1 in stock right now. So they kind of have to find a way to either get some really sneaky observers out or to kill Weehaw and take his gem. Because right now, that's giving Secret just a chokehold on the entire map.
Absolutely. And you'd think that they'd be able to have a little bit better vision because of the birds, but we've also been seeing the secret
no. If you say that, you have not played Visage. Those birds do nothing in terms of giving you vision. Like, it's like a hawk that got both of his eyes blinded. Like, those guys are feeling around worse than bats. I don't know.
You know what, Blaze? You caught me. I don't play Visage.
No, you just check out Dire Vision occasionally when they're flying over trees. Those guys don't see for shit. It's awful.
All right, fair enough. Well, they're at least going to be able to fly around and hit some creeps, which is pretty helpful. Swindle's at the full accompaniment of his core items. One of the games, I believe that we saw him ended up going for the Battle Fury build. What are your options as far as the next item for Faceless Void? Do you just try and get tanky at this next stage, or getting some more utility?
Well, some Voids like to go for damage at this point. Look at like the Daedalus and those kinds of options. If you're expecting a Butterfly out on the Terror Blade, so an MKB wouldn't be bad, but we're going to see Chessie engage.
Yeah, big hit onto Weehaw. Still oh my god, the BKB comes out a little bit late, and the Blade Parry did so much damage. Meanwhile, turn to Unvi just hitting away. Does get the snowball save though. Still going to be all right. Puppy ends up graving himself. Misery vacuum wall into 3. Pretty nicely done there. The turn back around. Void on the back lines was able to chrono up Envy, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do enough damage. Chessie is running away from them, seeing if they can get out, and it looks like maybe Complexity have been able to turn the corner. We still running out of here. Rolling Boulder just barely getting away from the snowball, but no, Z-Freak is going to be able to chase him down. The gem is on the ground, and it looks like the only survivors are going to be Pylai Die and Eternal Envy. Man, everybody else gain array on nothing though.
So I mean, that On paper, that Chronosphere doesn't look too spectacular. Obviously, no damage done to the Terrorblade himself in that Chrono, but they go ahead and they just use it as a placeholder. Just say, put a pin in it, 5 seconds, you can take your little time out, Envy, and we can go ahead and just ravage the back lines. The Earth Spirit was their focus. They got to take him down, and of course, that is going to give Complexity the gem back, which again was really important. That's what's been giving them so much difficulty in getting this map control back and getting sight on just pretty much whatever Secret are trying to accomplish. So good fight for them. As far as next stage progression for the Faceless Void you were asking about, I would not be surprised to see a Monkey King bar, since you expect the butterfly from Envy, but I personally still love to go for tank and utility. Like, you can go Octarine Core, you can go Refresher Orb, just more Chronosphere, man.
More Chrono all the time. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of set for damage in a certain way if you're able to get all of the Invoker spells off. I guess BKB is still going to be an issue, but, you know, Limp does have his Aghanim Scepter. Time will tell what's going to end up going. He's going to end up going for, but I think that really it depends on how you want to play it too. If we sort of see them get those same type of chronos where they just hit Envy and then focus all the backline support, then definitely going that utility route seems to be the better option versus trying to sort of burst him down in the midst of a team fight.
Alright, so we are going to see the illusion come in from the Terrorblade. They're going to get eyes on that Roche HP, and it looks like Secret are fully willing to contest this, but do they just weave the pit? Because if they do, they don't actually hit anybody with this negative armor, and that would be a loss. You really want to get value out of this weave, either defensively or to hit multiple heroes. And Complexity, they're perching high on the cliff. They're really not in a position of commitment.
And it looks like with the smoke up there, content at least for the moment just to watch and see what's going on. But Puppy, the smoke does break. This would be a big weave if he was able to get it.
Yeah, but he's also in danger.
BKB lifted on up. That's going to be the Sunstrike going through the first time with the Deafening Blast, and that's going to be enough for that first pickoff kill. Meanwhile, the Chronosphere gets hit onto 3. They're in a ton of trouble. Light Strike Array goes through everything being thrown out, and they're in a ton of trouble. Vacuum Wall, though, turning it back around onto 4 with the Magnetized follow-up. Everybody is dropping incredibly low, but already maybe the damage has been done. Swindle does able to go in for the time dilation as well as the time walk away. He's dropping very low to the dual ion shot. Is going to end up dropping. Only person left alive is the Invoker, as my goodness gracious, that Darkseer play at the end. Misery has been getting a little bit of flack this tournament. He just really pulled one out there.
Yeah, that was the difference maker. Getting that wall vacuum off at the last moment, getting his BKB out, putting grips, everything, just hitting all the panic buttons, doing everything he could to shift that fight's momentum. Massive wall vacuum, major damage to the Magnetized. Earth Spirit ended up doing more damage than Envy. He did 2,300 damage there. So it was all about that setup, all about the vac wall. If he had not lived to get that off, then I feel that all it is Eternal Envy just poking at people. He might get 1 kill, but his entire team gets wiped out. But by the skin of his teeth, by maybe even the Guardian Greaves aura, Misery survives long enough to use his Greaves, BKB, and all of his spells, and that makes all the difference. Complexity get wiped, and of course the Roshan now fires Secret, both with Cheese on the Darkseer and the Aegis on Envy.
Absolutely, and this might be that turning point that we were talking about. Still, we're looking at this graph. It's an advantage to Complexity, but you can see that curve right there. It is no small feat indeed, and we also now with the Blink Decker, and almost everybody in the game has been picking one of these ones up. I think that Puppy, I mean, that's also without, I think Puppy getting even a spell off. Did he even get Weave out? I'm not exactly sure.
No, he couldn't even grave himself. He just got jumped on immediately. There was actually a play where the LSA came out, and then the Yules from the Invoker, but it doesn't matter. They deafened it, and that made the Dazzle go down quick. So, yeah, obviously, if you have the nest, then for the other heroes, maybe you kill the Darkseer right before he gets everything off. I mean, I'm trying to marginalize the misplay with the fact that it could have stunned him, the LSA, but in the end, every spell counts. I mean, that definitely was Complexity getting the engagement jump they wanted, getting a hero that wasn't going to get swapped out in time, but Secret's still getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The Scotty is up, and I mean, if Void at this point just goes for maybe like a Maelstrom and a Mjolnir, maybe he's going to be able to counter push, but in general, these illusions are just so tanky and difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Well, the vision going to be gotten ever so slightly. This is Eternal Envy right up front and center. Need to blink away before he ends up getting taken out. The long-range stun almost there, but Hanskin is going to be the one that's separated from the herd. Throws on out that Grave Chill to the illusion. When illusions are hitting you that hard, when illusions are taking that long to kill off, this is really Terrorblade's time to shine. 2400 HP and not a thing to look back on right now. They're setting up for possibly a big Chronosphere. They get the first stun off. Wave of Terror through onto the creeps. Just waiting for their moment to jump forward and make this happen.
Pilot is in a really good position though. Even without Ether Lens, you know that he's going to be in swap range, but not inside the Chronosphere, even if just narrowly. So, and he's actually going to be taking a big chunk of damage here, but they're going to try to combo him. Just pops the BKB and keeps walking, looking for that Sunder.
And it's terrifying. Gets the Sunder turned back around. He was able to stay alive through it. It's going to throw out the stun that Limp is on the top of by Weehaw. The Eternal Envy still staying alive, going to be able to do a lot of damage. Magnetize is out. Jesse is going to start to fall so quickly though. Nice swap to make sure that they're able to secure the kill. Hanskin now is going to turn back around, almost able to kill him, but look at the damage! They end up popping the Aegis, but meanwhile he's already gone down. Look at the They throw out the ice shards to keep him in place, but honestly, this might be the moment where he just starts turning around and going ham. Throwback, big vacuum wall a second time through. Misery making it happen. They're going to be able to catch all the heroes. Snowball save again. Can't find a kill. It looks like Limp's going to end up going down. Eternal Envy is just too manly right now, and there's Swells trying to run out again. Everybody from Complexity is going down, and it looks like so too will the tier 3 tower. Dodges the tornado. Oh my goodness.
And that was part of what made the difference. The fact the Chronosphere was used when the Aegis was it didn't disable him at all. It just disabled the two counterparts next to him, and they didn't get anything against Windows. It's a little time dilation off, but it's not going to be stopping them from taking the top lane of Barracks. And at this point, I'm not sure if Sacred are even worried about leaving. Like, they can just retreat cleanly. There's no real follow-through. Chessie has 4 Wex, but they're not going to be seeing the tornado. Right now, Complexity are still scared. And they have just lost their top lane. They can't get any counter kills against Secret. Envy is massive, and I just don't know if there's even much of a response. I gotta bring it back to that Sunder though. That first life from Envy, it could have been almost a nearly wasted Aegis, and even the Grave, but the Sunder barely got the range it needed to get the swap off, and it was pretty hilarious. Swindles immediately tried to time walk that away, but the mechanic is, it's not damage received, it is literally just your health percent, my health percent. It doesn't stop by Ice Blast, it doesn't get time walked back, and that's unfortunate for Swindles, as he was able to contribute so little to the fight as a result.
My goodness, that is so frustrating. And well, the Sunder seems like it's a pretty good ability, as we have the Vanguard picked up by the Dazzle. I'm assuming this is going to be built eventually into is this going to be trying to go to a Crimson Guard, or what are your thoughts here? Just extra money?
No, it's a good for a support that's already too squishy, and I think that it's really against familiars in particular. The Visage familiars, the Forge Spirits, those things actually suffer dramatically from damage blocks, so the Crimson Guard is going to be a good, I would say you would have wanted it earlier, but this is, of course, your 5-position Dazzle at only 6k net worth. So he'll get it whenever he can. Puppy Crimson Guard should help, but we're going to see that massive swap back, and just as much as the Void can do to try to get out of here. Blink, he has to even Chrono. Going to try to go for the Blink. The Wave Pair keeps it on cooldown. He keeps getting hit, and I don't think he's going to get out. Oh, the swap again, and Swindles will be going down. He has buyback. And you are asking where his money was going to go. Well, it's going to go to the Crypt Keeper.
So, alright, Pylai swaps him back. They turn him into stone, they kick him back. He has to Chrono. Pylai swaps him again. He's just getting thrown all over the map right now. This is this is such a frustrating game, I would imagine, at this point for the Void. Thankfully, he has got Chronosphere back up in another 23 seconds, so possibly going to be able to get back up in time. Do you think that it's going to be enough, though? Do they have the damage?
I mean, they're going to have to try. This is their final stand. This is their midnight hour. But one swap could immediately just destroy any plans they have for a defense. They've got 3 familiars to work with, and Secret don't have enough incentive to push right now. They're just going to go ahead and wait for another Aegis. Because we saw what they could do with the first one. It's bring the Terrorblade low without heavy risk, and then get to play around with Sunder a little bit. Where normally Sunder is a last-ditch ability, they actually can use it as practically an initiation tool. They have the Aegis on top of it. The only thing that would add to the combo, we've been seeing Grave and the walk-in Sunder, I would say Surge as well. If you Surge and Grave a Terrorblade, he's running at you with 10% HP. This guy is just gonna take your soul away.
Absolutely, it is devastating to fight against. And we do have the fully completed Crimson Guard up on the Dazzle, as well as the Gem, so making sure that that doesn't end up getting taken away again. You just gotta say that the way that this game was looking, Complexity felt like they were in the lead for so long. It's been a 15,000 gold lead change, and right around the same amount of experience. Item-wise, we're starting to build towards a butterfly for Terrorblade, and once that starts coming out, the plus side I want to say for Complexity is that a lot of their damage is by virtue of their spells, and the right clicks I think matter a little bit less if you get sort of the full combos off. But I'm really wondering if they actually even literally have enough damage to kill them off. I'm not sure.
I mean, with everything, you look at like the math on the full Meteor Sunstrike Deafening Blast combo. If you hit it perfectly, it's still something that can pretty much kill almost any carry. Like I think it could do with the Aghanim Scepter and everything, like almost 1,500 damage. I haven't done the math recently, as they've made so many upgrades to all those effects, but it's a massive damage pool. Follow that up with your Soul Assumption, etc. Yeah, you certainly have the kill potential. Hell, they've got a Lina with an Aghanim's Laguna, nerfed as it may be. That's still like one of the strongest nukes in the entire game.
Yeah, that's true. Most definitely. Well, Weehaw, the rolling ward on the 4-second cooldown, definitely a very, very good spell, as they're going to be trying to take on out that the sigil. They do end up being able to see that Roshan has not as of yet respawned. Hanskin does have the Solar Crest and the Aghanim Scepter. Also worth noting, the Venge Aghanim Scepter swap is going to be increased to that very, very low cooldown. Definitely, it can be pretty relevant. You're able to swap away, you know, the creeps as well to make your way away from people, but Eternal Envy going further forward. He wants to fight. God, he's just not afraid.
There's nothing to be afraid of. You got the Grave behind you. You're massive. You are at the most farmed here on the map by far. They're going to try to make the jump here onto Lina, but the swap back makes Tusk an easy kill as well.
Yeah, and they're going to jump further forward here now. Tusk buys back into the game. Swindles is just going to try and hit away here, but what is he honestly even going to do? Brought down to about half HP. The second Meeple is going to come through. Meeple is rolling still. Puppy is out there.
Oh my god, that's so amazing.
Oh, Eternal Envy. What a freaking player. Lina has to buy back a second time now, as they're going to continue to chase on over here. Shards go out onto Wee, but what are you going to do, honestly? Chessie is starting to fall now from the right clicks from Eternal Envy. Magic missiles abound, and it looks like after that triple kill, it might just be bout over. Swindles jumps back a second time, swap onto Limp. He's going to end up going down. Does get the Eagle Scepter to try and stay alive, but to an end. Oh, nice snowball save, but is it going to be enough? I am not exactly sure. He's on the low ground back.
Is it going to be Rampage?
Oh, Rampage Eternal Envy. Taking them all out. GG, well played, ends up getting called. As Secret are going to not only move on, but stay out of that lower bracket for now.
Of course, they're very happy to be able to take this victory, feeling a lot more confident in just their team play. You saw so many opportunities where they could really manipulate the flow of battle with like the swaps and engagements. You talked about the control they brought with the Stone Remnant, but did you actually see that Weehaw play in the middle of that fight? Actually, while Envy is taking massive damage, gets hit by the Laguna, is stuck at 20% HP, they enchant him, he kicks him into the Lina, and boom goes the